welcome back to the Matrix. And the Matrix, you are the Matrix. How's it feel, Neo? And today, we got ourselves a banger daily market news analysis. What is up? What is up? How's everyone feeling? Out of 10, let me know down in the comments down below. Make sure you guys are spamming that like button, hitting that share so other people can spam that like button. As of the time of recording, Bitcoin currently sitting at, just making sure all the audio is good, everything updated right before we went live, so I just want to make sure we were good. But Bitcoin Jesus, currently sitting at $86,164. Had a pretty red day today. Of course, the big thing is that everyone's afraid of now. There's always stuff that people are afraid of. It's the Japan rate cuts. I don't think, I've given my thoughts on this. I do not think that it's going to outweigh the quantitative easing that is going to be taking place from the Fed. That is my thoughts. And as long as this low right here holds, November 21st, as long as that holds, this is just a higher low. And that's that. And we've talked about this for the last few days. We said we could go as low as, 84K. All that is fine. All that is fine. Even below that, it just would mean that this wasn't a higher low right here. We could technically go all the way back to 81K. And that would be fine. But really, a lot of what's happening here is we're going to talk about, the Russell. We're going to talk about silver. One of those two are lying. Okay, one of those are lying. And in a lot of regards, we're kind of doing the mirror, realistically, of what last year was in 2024. We broke out here in March, and we chopped sideways for a long time. The pivot day was October. We chopped sideways for a long time. The pivot day was October 9th, actually, of 2024, and then we rallied on out of there October 9th of 2025, and then we have rallied back down. And then, the climax of this was December 19th. Really, the euphoric moment was November of 2024. November 21st of 2024. November 21st of 2025 was the climax thus far. And then December 17th, right around the corner. So there you go. That's, as above, so below. There you go. So for every yin, there's a yang. So in a lot of regards, like the same thing. We had a big run up in the month of November of 24, big run down in the month of November of 25. So in a lot of ways, we've been mirroring this, doing the exact opposite of 2024. But that would mean that, hey, we're way closer than you think. Way closer than you think. Japan rate hike. Did I say something different? Has Alex Costa given up on crypto? I don't think so. I think he's pursuing some business ventures through Christmas, and I think he's done around Christmas. So listen, we talked about silver breaking out all-time highs, and we talked about the Dow Jones. One of these is anti-crypto, right? So one of these trades inversely with crypto, which silver has a big portion of my portfolio, right? So, it's not the end of the world if silver wants to rip and rally, but obviously I would prefer crypto to rip and rally. And then this trades with crypto. So when the when the Russell 2000 breaks into price discovery, that is good for crypto. When gold and silver break out, it's typically bad for crypto. And the thing that we haven't seen ever, because this is a 50-year high for silver. In fact, you got to go on the weekly chart even to see what's happening here. But this is a breakout of over 50 years. So this has literally never happened before. This is literally uncharted data. And, somebody is not telling the truth. Okay? So they've never broken out at the same time where the Russell is making new all-time highs the same time that silver is. That's never happened before. Somebody's lying. Somebody's lying, and my guess is, my bet is, when you look on the daily, that's a pretty damn deep bullish divergence. And we've already seen from gold, you know, I called it on the day. Said, I think that the top is in. I'm selling 40% of my gold because I buy gold and I buy silver. We have not went higher for a singular day. Okay? That was the top. We have not went higher for a single day. Now, that's the buying climax. We talk a lot about Wyckoff on this channel. We could easily get an upthrust, but that was the buying climax. You can see how hot this was on the daily. The hottest that we were since March of 2024, or excuse me, 2019, which was the top, the buying climax of gold. And then the hottest since before that was July of 2017, which again was the top. Okay. And then when we look on, you know, the weekly chart, I have hashed this. I have beat this horse to death here. But, you know, on the weekly chart, extremely, extremely oversold. On the monthly chart, the most I keep saying oversold. The most overbought we have been, meaning hot, we have been since 1979. Okay? 1979. Okay? 1979. The hottest gold has been since 1979. And, you know, so we made the case. Back, when was this? When was this? October. 40% of my gold. All right, so what's happened is we've seen classic textbook distribution, aka rotation of capital. When we look at gold, extremely hot, doing textbook distribution. At the same time, where has it rotated? Into silver, continuing to rip higher, as gold has yet to make an all-time high. Why is gold not making an all-time high while silver is ripping to the upside? Because it got rotated from gold. That's what happened. People sold some of their gold and are buying silver now. But what do we see? A very deep, big-time bearish divergence. Now, this can continue to run. This could take some time to play out. However, and in fact, my target from back over here when silver was at $20, because that's my average price, is $78. So we could have 2 or 3 of these bearish divergences take place before it actually rolls over. But, you know, when you look on gold, like, this is really starting to get weak at this point. Like, real deal. Let's, like, zoom in. What's under the hood here? You look at the shorter time frames here. We're starting to roll over a bit on the 30 minutes, starting to roll over to test the 200. On the 15, we're below the 200. God forbid we take out this low over here, and that would be a lower high, which would be a macro lower high, and then you start to put in lower lows. So listen, this is macro stuff. It's going to take a long time. Gold is going up like an erection. It hasn't made an all-time high since October. Silver is parabolic. Gold is not. Gold is doing textbook distribution. The top was over here, 4,400. October, when was this? October 20th. Gold has not. It is not going up like an erection. In fact, from that moment, it crashed 12%. Again, this is not a meme coin. It's not going to just roll over and go to Hades. It's going to do textbook distribution. This has been around for thousands of years. Okay? But this is doing pretty textbook distribution. Now, if you want to tell me silver is going up like an erection, sure, I'll buy that. This is absolutely parabolic right now. Absolutely parabolic. I'll buy that for $1. In fact, I bought it for $20, and I'm probably going to sell some of my silver here soon. It's up 128%. Silver does not make moves like that. Silver does not make moves like that. All right, so the big question is going to be, like, which one of these are telling the truth? Is the Russell telling the truth, or is silver telling the truth? We will see. We will see. What I'm seeing around the crypto space is, like, all of a sudden now everyone swears it has to be a year. Which, you know, is kind of funny because people are talking out of both sides of their mouth with that. A year from where? When we experienced euphoria? Everyone wants to say that this was peak euphoria. Okay. I'll buy that for $1. Peak euphoria was over here. Okay. Well, that's 370 days. So everyone's predicting October. That's going to be the bottom. I don't think so. I don't think so. If we even take this out, it's probably going to be done by February, January. Are you shorting gold? I was shorting gold. I shorted gold all the way down. From when I said I was selling it, I shorted it all the way back to about $4,000, and then I stopped shorting it. Because it's not going to behave like a meme coin. Right? It's not. I do not predict that gold is going to do this, like, you know, meme coin just off to Hades. Like, that's not going to happen. It's not, you know, a big move out of gold is a different thing than a big move out of silver, or I mean crypto, excuse me. So this is going to take a while to play out, and it's going to do a classic distribution, and we'll probably get a classic UTAD, probably about $4,500. Excuse me. But that's going to be a bearish divergence, which we're already seeing. It's already seeing it. Let's see if we can get the... Let's see if we can get a good... I'm tired of... Here we go. This is a pretty good one right here. I don't know if we're going to get a good... So this, you know, accumulation. I'm tired of my other website that I've been using. This one looks okay because they have so many ads. This isn't as, like, you know, textbook or whatever, but this is typically what you do see out of distribution. You see a buying climax. The climax of buying, that's typically like maximum euphoria, whether it's crypto, whether it's stocks, whether it's gold, silver, it doesn't matter. This is when euphoria hits. This is when the RSI is the highest. Then you get a secondary test. A lot of times that'll go higher, and then a lot of times you do get a UTAD. That's textbook, right? So, you know, gold could absolutely do that. But this would still be the buying climax. The climax of max euphoria when people are lining up outside of the bullion shops, right? We haven't experienced euphoria like this. So could we go up to 4,500 for maybe that's a secondary test? Maybe it's a UTAD? Sure. But the buying climax, in my opinion, is already in for gold. 75K. 75K is on the board, right? You know, we were at 80K was the bottom so far. So 75K, 80K, that's a rounding error. What I'm saying is this thing is way closer than what you think it is. In fact, let's go to Bitcoin. Sure. Like, I'll buy that. Sure. 75. Sure. I'll buy that for $1. Like 31 on the RSI on the weekly. The last bear market low was 25 at Luna. The time before that, the bear market low was also 25. The time before that was 27 in January. The time before that was 33. On the weekly. This is not the daily. This is not the 5 hour. We're talking about the weekly chart. I'm telling you, this is way deeper than you think it is. This is way deeper than you think it is. And if people want to tell me like it needs to take a year, like, okay, sure, I'll buy that for $1. But then like, when was the peak euphoria? When was the peak euphoria? Okay, it's December of 24, November of 24. When's a year? Let's go to December. How about that? We'll do a year. Right now, we're at 47 weeks from December. I think at worst, we're going to get a secondary test / spring in January, February. That's what I think is going to happen. This is what I think is the likely worst case scenario here. We could roll into January and take that out. Sure. 75K. But I think that the buying climax is already in. That's what I think. All right, let's read some of these comments. One of two things is true. Either we are ending the altcoin, like we have been in an altcoin bear market, and we're rounding that, or it's going to be the shortest Bitcoin bear market ever. I have two scenarios for Bitcoin. This is the bull trap, or the bear trap, excuse me. And this is my bear case scenario. But I think that the buying or the selling climax is already in my opinion. November 2021. When was the bottom? By the way, when was? Oh, right. FTX, November 2022. 2015. Let's look at that. Same thing happened. Like worst case here. January. Higher low. Out of there. Out of there. So I think if we're like the next couple days, there's going to be some, there's going to be some foolery, if you will. There's going to be, how does dominance look? Dominance looks super weak. That's why it's like, that has been one thing that's been confusing. Dominance is super weak. I'm hoping 2026 for alts. We have to fully bottom it before the next move, in my opinion. What does a fully bottom look like for you? I'm looking at the daily chart right now. And look how oversold we got. On the daily. The last time we were this oversold was the war in Israel. Back in 2023. The time before that was the Luna collapse. On the daily. So, like, what does a fully bottom look like to you? Like, sure. I'll buy that. Fully bottom before the next move. What does a fully bottom look like? Because we are the most oversold that we've been since 2023. We have not been this oversold on the daily RSI since 2023. Which was the war in Israel. Literal World War III. That was November, obviously. November. And as long as this holds, this is just a higher low. We'll see if it holds through the next few days. People buying silver at $62 blows my mind. It literally, what is the popular narrative nowadays? What is the popular narrative now? It's like gold and silver's the buy now. And crypto's dead. Like, Okay, bro. I got my gold at, you know, like $1,500. I got my silver at $20. But sure, gold and silver are the buy now. People love buying all-time highs. It doesn't matter the asset. That's what they do. They buy all-time highs. It does not matter what the asset is. Retail will buy all-time highs because that's what they love. They will sell lows. They will sell the bottom without fail. They will buy the top without fail. It doesn't matter the asset class. Whether it's real estate, whether it's gold, whether it's silver, whether it's crypto, whether it's stocks, whether it's your car. That's it. Retail loves buying tops, selling bottoms, regardless the asset. Total 3 holding support. I have not looked at Total 3. I know that Bitcoin is just doing a higher low. Yeah, I mean, you could just say filling out this wick. But yeah, this is still a higher low right now. Yep. And still holding this trend too, which has been at play since September of 2023. So yes, it's still holding support right now. I mean, we could fill this out on like a flash. If there's some craziness, like a liquidation, that could happen. But as of right now, it's just a higher low. So Jam was right at the end of the day. I'm not starting with this shit, bro. Yes, sure. There is a Bitcoin season, and there is... Sure. Jam was right.
Only 25K, bro. Bottom was 16K. Okay.
There you go. Yep, he was right all along. There's the face.
But nobody cares.
Bro's been bearish since 25K. Yes. He was right all along. You're right. The unknown, he was right all along. So he's been right. He's called 37 of the last 5 tops. So, my man's record is impeccable. Yep. Listen, I shaved my beard. $2,700 top. Yeah, I'm not starting this shit today. If you want some skin to suck, I'm not the one for you. I'm not here to be anybody's savior. I'm accountable when I'm wrong. People have a savior complex, and I'm not the one. I am not anybody's savior. Everyone wants somebody to save them, and be your own hero. It's not me. I'm not your hero. Yeah, bro. Sure. Bearish at 25K all the way through. Yeah, sure. My man called it. He's called it since 25K. He's been bearish since 25K all the way. 37 of the last 5 tops. He's nailed them. Do you think the stock market looks overheated? Probably. Like, what are we measuring it in, though? Here's the thing. Where the hell is the Dow Jones? This is higher than it should have been. This is higher than it should have been. Like, one of the only analysts who I actually do respect what they say is the blockchain backer. And he was saying back over here that it was topped and we were going into the Great Depression. But, you know, and I've talked about this, when you pull a Fibonacci on the Dow Jones from the top to the bottom in 2009, this absolutely went to the 4236. But the thing is, like, you're measuring it in the dollar. So the dollar is not the dollar from 2008. So this just has ripped right past where it should have went. You know, so I don't know. Like, we need to measure this in something different. But as long as they keep printing money, like, I don't see a reason why this is gonna. I mean, it should, right? Like, what is the stock market based on? What is the value of the stock market? Where does that derive from? Like, it should be, but they just keep printing more money. So, like, the thing that people don't comprehend is the thing that we're measuring everything itself is in a bubble. We're measuring everything in the dollar, which itself is in a bubble. The dollar is in a bubble. That's the part that people don't comprehend. This is way past where it should have went. It should have topped out right here at the 4236 in December of 2021. It topped, it came down a little bit, and now it's just ripping higher. Way higher. Why? Because the dollar is in a bubble. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the stock market. Ski, I respect your work and opinion. When do you expect Bitcoin and others to roll back green in 2026? All right, look, everything is going to be dependent on the Dow Jones, or excuse me, not the Dow Jones, the Russell. Everything in crypto is dependent upon the Russell. Okay, we've been following this fractal to a T. And so if we're going to continue to follow this fractal, then we would put in another higher low here, and then we would break out. During the price discovery, historically, Bitcoin is going to rally the hardest. And then going into the distribution, that's when the altcoins go crazy. That happened in 2021. It also happened in 2017. Now, there's one thing that is different this time that was not taking place and has not taken place for like 50 years. And that's silver is just ripping. Technically, it happened in 2011, but Bitcoin was such a baby back then. So this is the one thing that is certainly different. And so the question becomes, like, who is telling the truth? Who is lying? One of those are lying. Either the Russell is lying or silver is lying. You know, and if I stand here before you today, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know for a fact. I don't. But I suspect, because I sold 40% of my gold back in October, we haven't went higher for a second. Not for a second have we went higher. I have the tweet right here. October 16th, 2025, I'm selling 40% of my gold. And then I predicted that this would happen. That gold would go into distribution. We would probably get a UTAD. And it's going to start rotating into silver. When you look at, how hot we are, look at this. This is the monthly chart for gold. We have not been this hot since 1979. Gold has not been this overbought since 1979. Okay, so in my opinion, like, my hunch is silver is lying. And what's happening is gold is rotating into silver just like Bitcoin rotates into the altcoins. And this is stealing some of the thunder right now for sure. This trades inversely. 100% gold trades inversely with Bitcoin. 100%. This is a huge bearish divergence right now on the daily, though. You can see the price is ripping higher, as also gold has not made a new all-time high. It still hasn't taken out the October highs. But we see silver going into price discovery, just ripping. You know, we're almost at the micro 2618. 78 was my target. I don't know if we're going to get that high, but we have clear bearish divergence taking place. Now, this could happen twice, 2-3 times before it actually rolls over. So I don't know like when the music actually stops, but I know that this is hot, hot, hot. So, you know, the RSI, maybe it does something like this, and maybe you make another lower low before it actually rolls over. And like during that same time, you could see something like this taking place. That wouldn't be weird. But this is at the finality, especially because like I believe in my bones that gold has already gotten its buying climax. Now, the buying climax isn't the highest price that you typically go. It's a weird concept, but in textbook Wyckoff, buying climax is the peak of euphoria, which we already saw that for sure. People were lining up at the gold bullion shops, lining up around the block. But you typically get a secondary test that goes higher. But this is less euphoric. This is more liquidity. And then sometimes you get a UTAD. This is basically what I have drawn out. Like, I haven't even moved this since I drew this out 2 months ago. So I do think that gold will probably get a UTAD, but you can already see like how much weaker this is compared to what it was over here. Like how you can see how hot this is over here at the buying climax versus we're basically at the same price, not quite, basically at the same price, and it's so much cooler. Like this, there's no oomph to this at all. And I'd be interested to see another thing that you could look for as a I don't know what it's going to look like on here. Yeah, of course, nothing. This isn't real data here, but another thing you can look for on other charts is a volume divergence. So like volume divergence would be maybe the price. I wonder if silver has it actually. No, of course it doesn't. But basically what you would look for is like, let's look at Solana's top here. Let's see what we can find here. Here we go. So here's 2021. I'm just teaching. Okay. So this isn't like, we're not going to get this either because gold, it's not going to show us the real. I could maybe find a different chart that'll show the actual like volume profile, but this isn't showing it. But another divergence that you can look for sure is volume versus price. And that can show you, that could be another thing of like, this was the buying climax, and then this is just a UTAD. So you can see it with the RSI too. So this is 2021 for Solana. But really what I'm trying to do is just teach you guys like what you're looking for. So this is your buying climax right here in Wyckoff. Okay, this is the peak euphoria. And then you can see the volume matches the how hot the RSI was. The RSI on the daily chart over here was 96. Now notice the price goes higher. This was higher, significantly higher than the buying climax. But then look at the RSI is lower than over here. And then look at the volume too. Way lower than what we was over here. That's a clear bearish divergence. Clearly. Volume is going down, RSI is going down, price is going up. That's a bearish divergence. Now, we need to find a chart that shows us the volume, because this is not, you know, I'm going to look around and see if I can find a chart that actually shows the real volume for this. But you do see the same divergence taking place on silver on the RSI. I would love to see a volume one. Also, you see the same bullish divergences at the bottom. Like, look at this. Selling climax right here, baby. As low as we got. Look at the volume coming in. When was this? All right, November 2022. Look at that. Bada bing, bada boom. Look at that volume. Also, like, zoom in. Look under the hood. Let's come a little closer. What do you notice? In January, you sweep these lows. Look at the volume, though. Volume is less. Price went lower. That's a bullish divergence. Look at the RSI, too. Right? These are things to look for. These happen all the time. Happen all the time. So, I mean, the same thing on Bitcoin. Like, we're getting that on Bitcoin. We are getting this on. Look at how low we got on the RSI. Look at the volume. The highest volume day that we've had since. Let me get the right chart here. Let me get Coinbase. Which one? I don't know. Where's my Coinbase chart? This was a bearish divergence too. I missed that one. Where is the Coinbase one? But you can see high volume, the highest volume that we've had since over here. Since the Japan rate hike fiasco. The highest volume that we've had. All right. Look at the price is dropping. The volume is not. The RSI is not. This is a bullish divergence. We could sweep the lows, absolutely. But it would look something like this. Divergences would be showing up everywhere. The selling climax, in my opinion, is already in. We might get a secondary test, which would sweep the lows. We might get a spring, which would sweep the lows. Like so. By the way, same thing happened over here. Look at this. This stuff happened. Both of these things happened at tops and bottoms. So this was April. This was March. Excuse me, February. And then this was April. Look at this. You can see. This is Bitcoin. Bitcoin's price got the 77K. Look at the RSI. 15 on the daily. Price goes lower. 76K. Look at the RSI. Price goes lower again. RSI is higher. That's a bullish divergence. This is one of the reasons I was so confident back in April. So look, if we sweep the lows here and then put in a higher low on the RSI, that's a bullish divergence, and this would be more of accumulation. So you're saying 74K first week of January. That's on the board. But I think that the selling climax is already in. And I don't think that we go further past January. Yeah. So, like, to me, that's worst case scenario. That's worst case scenario. Will silver rotate into copper? In my opinion, okay, so these are the right questions. In my opinion, silver is going to rotate into the Russell or the stock market, but probably the Russell. That's what I think is going to happen, because they're inverse with crypto. Gold is inverse. So yes, that's what I think is next. Now this could take a while to play out. Like when we're looking at silver, when we're looking at gold, these are very when we're looking at the Russell, these are very macro things. But the setup is there. Is Flux still alive? Flux is still alive. How long can we stay oversold? For a while. Sure. And like, here's an example too, is like, you know, back in February, we went to 78K. We were oversold, but we went lower. That's a bullish divergence though. And then you know, like, the end is near. When you start seeing stuff like this, when you start seeing like just very simple, RSI is going up, price is going down, that is a bullish divergence. They happen at tops too. Right? These are things to look for. You want to see it on a bigger time frame, but you can see like price going up, RSI going down. That's a bearish divergence. They happen at tops, they happen at bottoms. So to me, even the worst case, like the selling climax is already in. Now we might get a secondary test, we might get a spring. Both of those would be lower. They would be. But we would see less volume coming out. I think we're way deeper than anybody thinks. People think that, you know, we're going to just fall into October. I think that that's a fallacy. 100K first, right? Probably. Yeah. Yep. If we're going to get a spring, 100K would be first. This is like, I'm painting the worst case scenario. There definitely is a case to be made that this is an ABC correction. This is the end of the B correction. So this is an A. This is a B. As long as this holds, this is valid. And then the C would have you somewhere to 100K before then rolling over to do your spring. Yes, 100K is definitely plausible, probable. CME gap to 112. We could go all the way to 112 and still roll over. It's going to 60K in my opinion. I don't think so. It's possible. I'm not mad at that. I'm not like going to fight you about that. But historically, you only go as deep as the previous. Like in the worst, you go as deep as the previous all-time high, which would be 69K. And even like look at this. Look at all the support over here. You got to get through like a ton of support to get to 60K. Is it possible? Like, sure, it's possible, but typically to have a really violent bear market, you need to have a really violent bull market. We did not have a violent bull market. Like, the market is always trying to find balance and imbalance. And really, there's not a huge imbalance discrepancy to the downside because we didn't have a huge imbalance discrepancy to the upside. But historically, the bottom is the previous top, right? That's what Bitcoin likes to do. Like, let's look at the weekly chart here. So look at the base of the move here. You had one candle. Like, let's zoom in and really show this. So if you want to say, sure, did we wick to 19K? Sure, we did. Where's the top of, like, any candle? And then where's the top of all of the candles here? 15.5. That's the top. The highest that anything went was 17. All of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, was $15,100. This one right here was $15,700. Split the two, you get 15.5. Okay, well, let's zoom over here and see, where do we go? Where do we go? Oh, nailed it! Like, perfectly, bro. Never, not one candle went below that. This guy's too bullish? Okay, bro. Short it then. Short it all the way to 50K. Show me a time where we took out the previous all-time high. Anytime. You make your own investment thesis, bro. Like, short it then. Like, there's plenty of money to be made. Short it all the way down. Bear flag. Short it to 50K, bro. People tell me that this was the buying climax. This was euphoria over here. In November of 2024, this is when meme season was. This is when Melanie and Trump launched their meme coins, right? I'll buy that for $1. And then people want to tell me that you have to have 1 year from that. Okay, let's see. Where are we at? Oh, 52 weeks. Okay. How about over here? What did we get? Oh, 53 weeks. Okay. I'm telling you, it's deeper than you think. It is deeper than you think. Even if it does go lower. Like, we're talking potato at this point, in my opinion. Like, sure. Can it go to 75K? Sure. Sure. What is the difference between 80K and 75K 10 years from now? Let me know. Can it go to 73K? Ooh. What's the difference between 80K and 73K 10 years from now? Let me know. Because I promise you, everybody and their brother and their mother over here told me we were going to 10K. We were going to 12K or 10K. That was the only calls we ever saw. 10K, 12K, that was it. Nobody said 15.5. Nobody. There were 0 people saying we were going 15.5 and that was it. Nobody said that. It was 12K, 10K. I'm going to short it all the way. I'll buy it at 12K. I'll buy it at 10K. That's all that I heard. That's all that I heard. That's all that I heard. And then what happened? We went up to 31K, came back to 25K. Oh, for real this time, that was it. We had like a little fake rally. Now, for real, we're going to 12K for real. For real this time, for real. Oh, I skipped a step actually. Let me like recap the narrative of what was being told. From here, this big sell-off, it was 12K, 10K, 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 10K. Luna collapses. We're going to 10K. Luna collapses. FTX collapses. We're going to 10K. This is not the bottom. Do not buy it now. Do not. We pump up to 25K. Silicon Valley Bank goes to 0. Bitcoin falls back to 20K. People said, see, this is a fake scam rally. We're going to 10K for real. We pump up to 30K. Come back down to 25K. For real, this time, we're going into the real bear market. See, people get greedy both. People think that greed only shows up here. Nope. Greed shows up here too. You know what greed looks like here? Waiting for the price, waiting for the day that never comes. Waiting for the day that never comes. That's what greed looks like. And then they never buy until it's at an all-time high. If I've seen that story once, I've seen it 732 times. Win Solnic, 7.5 cents. I just released the roadmap. The development plan for the Solnic swap. Sooner or later. I'm hoping Bitcoin goes to 75K. Wrong. $2017, 19K, 2022, 15K. Yeah, bro. Did you miss that whole thing or what happened? Like, did you watch any part of that or you just want to tell me I'm wrong? Did you watch a second of it? Or you just want to tell me I'm wrong? Because I clearly went on the weekly chart, bro. Clearly. And I clearly showed we have one body candle at 17K. We have 5 at 15K. Which one is real? Did you watch any of it? Or did you just want to tell me I'm wrong? For sure, bro. For sure. Thoughts on VeChain is holding up. VeChain is one of the only things that I'm buying here. One of the only altcoins. Solnic, VeChain. Total 3 is just doing a higher low. Until Bitcoin takes out this low over here, this is just a higher low. Until Bitcoin takes this out, this is just a higher low. That's it. And I need y'all to know this is the most oversold we got since the war since World War III started. That's what they told us it was over here. World War III started. We have not been this oversold for Bitcoin. That November crash when we went to 80K, the most oversold we got since 2023. So sure, like be greedy at the bottom. Wait for the day that never comes. I will not be doing that. Like how popular it is to be a bear now. Nobody was a bear 2 months ago. It was not popular to be a bear. Now that's all the rage. Everyone's a bear now. Everyone thinks we're going lower. No one's calling for higher prices. Nobody is calling for higher prices. $80K support. That's right. The highest volume day in in over 13 months was at 80K. That tells you that that's a real, like, buyers are coming in there. Also, what happened before then? Oh yeah, like Vanguard launched their ETF. Like, this was so manipulated, it's not even funny, bro. Here's what happened, okay? I'm going to recap what happened over the last, when was the Fed in before December? When was that meeting? I don't remember when it was. We had 10-10, right? Jerome Powell comes out. I don't remember if it was November or October. This MFer came out and told us, who said we were cutting in December? I didn't say that. That's what he told us. Every single market crashes. And then all of a sudden, like a week later or 2 weeks later, the market starts pricing in that we're actually going to get cuts in December. The lowest point that Bitcoin got was when Vanguard launched their ETF. You can piss on me and tell me it's raining all you like. But I'm telling you what really happened is Vanguard wanted cheaper prices so that they could launch at the cheapest price. That's what really happened. Look at USDT. Look at the Russell, bro. The Russell broke out. Tell me when the Russell loses. You're putting the horse before the water. You're looking at USDT. I'm telling you what the real thing is. The real thing is the Russell. Let me know when this low gets taken out. Then you have an argument. You have no power here until this gets taken out. The USD dominance means nothing until this gets taken out. It means nothing. You are putting the horse before the water. It means nothing. Nothing. Are you not afraid of VChain going to zero? No, I'm not. I'm sure you covered this, but what was the God candle about on Solnic? Yeah, Solnic went to $8. It was insane, actually. I don't know. Somebody bought on a liquidity pool. Like, the crazy thing is, it was a monthly close. It was a monthly close. So, like, we have a candle on the monthly chart of, like, above $8. Crazy. So what actually practically happened, right, is it was someone bought at the perfect time, and they bought on a liquidity pool that had very low liquidity. But this showed up. Like, look, this showed up on the monthly chart. This is on the monthly chart. We got the $8. Even the body of this monthly chart was $2.33. So this wasn't real, but it's real on the chart. Now we have data above there. So, yeah, a precursor of things to come. That's what that is. I released the I'll just talk about it real quick, but here's the plans. I'll show you guys the roadmap for Solnic. Let's see if we can find this on here. Okay, here we go. All right, we'll show this, and then I'll show you the development plans. So here is our updated roadmap. Nope, this is not the updated roadmap. Daggone it. Hold on. I have it. 1 second. I have a structured settlement, and I need cash now. There we go. Here's the updated roadmap into 2026 and beyond. BYOB documentary, feature-length documentary is going to be filmed early spring. Also, the swap app we're working on the development of that right now. We have a outlined plan to get that going. And incorporated with that is going to be the Solnic stablecoin, Solnic swap. You'll be able to lend coins, stake coins, liquidity mine, borrow, and more. Solnic bet, which is basically Solnic's version of Polymarket. On chain, at some point, you're going to be able to buy Solnic with a Apple Pay, Google Pay, exchange listings, small, medium, and large, and bridge to other chains such as Polygon, HBAR, XRP, etc. And I will show you guys the development plans for Solnic coin. Here we go. Solnic swap, a decentralized. So here's the outline of what we're working on right now. A decentralized exchange aggregator built to maximize the trading efficiency of Solnic coin and other Solana-based tokens. The platform will operate similarly to Jupiter aggregator, automatically routing swaps through the most efficient paths. The objective is to create a Solana-based DEX aggregator that enables seamless swaps between Solnic coin and other SPL tokens. Integrate Solnic coin as the performs core utility governance token. Establish APIs, build fast mobile-friendly interface, position Solnic coin as a primary liquidity and governance asset within the Solnic swap ecosystem. And there's going to be staking, governance, real-time liquidity aggregations, automated route optimization, wallet integration, staking, governance, dashboard, cross-token analytics. The deliverables are custom front-end design development, JS front-end, Solana web, wallet with Phantom, Soulflare, swap and liquidity interface, display, Solnic coin balance price, staking, integration of Solana's APIs, real-time aggregation of Solnic pairs, Solnic staking, governance API, secure API gateway, user transaction history, SNS, staking pool, logic, and analytics dashboard. And then there was one other thing I wanted to show you. Web platform, fully functional, integration, smart contracts, live APIs, admin, dashboard. And Solnic Swap presents the next evolution of decentralized trading on Solana, powered by Solnic coin and its core utility. By following the structured 4-phase development roadmap, the platform will combine cutting-edge DeFi technology with Solnic coin's ecosystem and utility, driving adoption, liquidity, and community growth. 6.7. I didn't mean to show you that last part. So that's basically the plan to get the Solnic swap, and the fees that we generate from that are going to be used for buybacks and other development that I just showed you on the roadmap. So the plan is to get get the swapping app. It's going to be similar to Jupiter, integrated with the Solnic staking, because right now Solnic staking is live. You can earn, get out of here. So 92 million has already been staked, already like 10% of the supply. You can earn 30% rewards for 720 days. So this is already live, and the plan is to integrate that with the swap app to where you get better fees and better rewards if you stake some Solnic, which is going to cause more supply as well. So listen, it's a process. They didn't build Rome in a day, but we're continuing to build. Like, who has like been at it for 2 years now, still building stuff? Real projects. That's who. So this is mid 2026. We plan to have this operational. There's always delays with development, always. But the plan is to have the swap app integrated with the staking to where you get better rewards or better fees if you stake Solnic coin as well. So that's what we're working on, and then we have the other things that we're continuing that I showed you in the roadmap. But that's the big thing that we're working on right now, and that's going to start like really full steam ahead on that. So excited to bring that to you guys. I'm excited to keep like, dude, like I'm enjoying the grind, and that's what it is. It's a effing grind, bro. But I love it, and I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep grinding, keep building, and we're just gonna keep making things better and better and better, and more cool stuff for you guys. That you know what it means to be YOB, to be your own bank, to have financial freedom because of you, and not because of PayPal or Wells Fargo or whoever. That's what it's all about. Wick fill the upside. Yes, that is a precursor of what is going to happen. I thought the screen froze. I don't know how it was happened. It was just kind of lucky, to be honest. I'm not going to sit here and be like that was. It was pretty lucky that someone did that. There was enough volume to where it needed to go to a secondary pool, and it was a big enough buy, and it was at the monthly close. So it was lucky, but hey, we're going to fill that wick out. When will the altcoins get a rally? Price discovery for the Russell. Do you think that the bottom is in? I think that the selling climax is in. We could go lower, right? 75K, 74K, 73K, sure. But I think that the selling climax is in. And what do I mean by that? Hey, here's the most example, like the most recent example of Wyckoff, what I'm talking about. So this was the selling climax over here. We went lower, and you can see the RSI extremely oversold, right? But we went lower, the RSI was higher. We went from 78K down to 76K. That's technically, so this is technically in Wyckoff what's called your selling climax. This is technically your secondary test. Secondary test textbook goes lower than the selling climax. And then April 7th, we went down to 74K. This is technically a spring. So I'm saying, like, I think that this sort of setup is on the board. But I think that when we look at how oversold we got, like, we got deeper than over here in February. So I think that the selling climax is already in. So we could have a scenario like this. Like, that could play out. But that to me is like worst case. Like, worst case is January. And I don't think it's much more. Like, it's potato 10 years from now, in my opinion. But ski. Why beta boys hate XRP? I don't know, Megan. Maybe they missed it, you know? I don't know. Why do people hate Kobe? Why do people hate LeBron? Why do people hate Michael? Why do people hate Tom Brady? They hate greatness. I don't know why people hate XRP so much. It's kind of crazy. Bitcoin to zero by tomorrow. Dang it. Telegram roadmap updated. He says, I have alerts set now. Listen, we did it once. We'll do it again. I said we were going to $5.89. We went to $8.88. Damn it. No, that's just a precursor. I'm not going to pretend like that was the real move. But we did do it. We did go to $8.88 on a trading view chart. We have been in a bear market since December of 2024. I'll buy that for $1. Let's play it out. What does that look like? Sure. I'll buy that. I'll buy it, bro. What does that look like? What does that mean? We've been in a bear market since December of 2024. If you want to tell me this was peak euphoria and the absolute top, I'll buy that. What does it mean now? Where are we? 330 days. Okay. When was the top to the bottom over here? 366 days. Verily, verily, I say to you, we are closer than you think. You want to tell me that this was the top? Okay, sure. We're closer than you think, though. Like a month, bro. Like a month, maybe. Closer to what? Closer to the bottom than what people think. Put a 21 million buy order. XYO. Sell off Friday after Japan raises rates. That's what everyone's expecting. I'm sure everyone's right. We'll see, bro. I don't know. Like, I cannot possibly think that. Because I'm a contrarian. Like, I imagine there's going to be some foolery. What is today? Monday? Yeah. So Friday is what, the 19th? There's going to be some foolery, I imagine. But just by nature and to my core, I'm a contrarian. And when I see everyone screaming one thing, like naturally I'm going to believe the opposite. Maybe everyone's right. Maybe. We'll see. We will see. New moon on the 19th. Ski, the myth, the legend. Since 1979, everyone. That's right. Alvarez dropped on X. I feel a mass liquidation event is about to happen. You have been warned. Okay. Does that mean down? Liquidations happen both ways. Sure. Maybe. Like, I think that there's going to be some, yeah. I think there's going to be some foolery this week. VeChain, my price predictions are still the same. For XYO, for VeChain, I'll buy the dip at 0. Damn it. Why didn't I think of that? Ugh. Alright, guys. Still two. Yep. Thank you for the SpongeBob. All right, guys. That is going to be it for this time. I'll give you my closing thoughts. Until November low gets taken out, this is just a higher low. ABC correction is valid until, or what is invalidated? Invalidated? No. Invalidation of ABC correction, which would have us at 100K, would be a lower low. So if we take that out, then likely we're going straight to the, you know, the spring or the secondary tests, whatever. But as of right now, this is still a higher low. I expect some craziness this week. It seems like every single week is like, this is the most important week, and it's like, this is again the most important week. We'll see. So Japan rate cuts. Listen, what is Japan like? A fifth? What's the GDP comparison? Like, that's the thing, is people are putting so much weight in Japan. How much smaller is Japan versus America? Like, it's not as important as the United States doing quantitative easing, in my opinion. I'm not a Fed expert. That's not my area, but that's my thoughts on it. But I'll be live about 4:30, 5 p.m. Central Time tomorrow. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. I will never message you first. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Peace, love, prosperity. God first. God